All right, and we are live. YouTube, make sure you listen to the end for announcements, because I'm probably going to add some announcements about my stream tomorrow to the end of this stream, which should be going live tomorrow, but you would already know by then. I didn't really think this through super well. Do whatever you want. Hello, welcome in. Hi there, Gia. Hi, that ginger American. Hello, Laura. Welcome in. We are just getting started, so you are some early birds. I'm not going to say the worm thing this time. It was weird last time, and it made all of us uncomfortable. Welcome in, Charles. Hey, Quentin's Corner. Hey, the Stein. Angelic Soul, welcome in. Douglas, hey, how you going? Perfect. Did I already say Charles? If I didn't, hey, Charles. If I did, only accept one of them. Eric, hello. Welcome in. Kelly, hi. We are just getting started. Who made up this lie that Christians reject science? Well, I'm asking why do Christians reject science? Hannah Grace, hi. Pokey, hi. The host tried to disprove that evolution exists. Oof. That's tough. I'm letting people up if they are believers who want to talk about the topic, yes. That's why it says current guest none. It'd be very strange to include a current guest text up there if I didn't want to talk to anybody. That'd be a hilarious stream if I just pretend that I don't see anybody requesting the entire time. Hannah Grace, I also like Science Time. That's why I came back to this one. It won't let you request. Interesting. Is anyone else having trouble seeing the box? I can throw my burner account up here if we need. Usually that helps to make sure that people can join. No box, but people are there. Then we should be fine. Yeah, as long as you'll see the option. There is no request box. Okay, I'm gonna join on my burner account just in case. Oh, nope, that person requested. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns, please?
Hey, how are you? I'm 19, and my name is Ivy, and he, him.
All right, I didn't know if you wanted to be called IV or 4, so I'm glad I asked. So, Ivy, what is your religion or lack thereof?
I believe in Jesus.
Cool. What is your religion or lack thereof?
Christianity.
Sweet. So why do Christians reject science?
I don't. Could you provide like an example? Or
Yeah. Do you think that Jesus raised from the dead?
yes.
Yeah, it's denying science.
Well, that comes to a philosophical argument because if you don't believe that there could be a supernatural, then obviously nobody could rise from the dead, right? So that's not a scientific claim. That's a philosophical claim.
Well, I can make a scientifical claim that people can't raise from the dead.
But if there is a God, then that God can raise from the dead.
Okay, I would need you to show me your God first, I suppose.
Well,
just to be clear, you are still rejecting science by doing this. But if you want to try to, ignore the scientifical approach, show me your God.
Science would say that like humans can't rise from the dead. We have no tests on God. Jesus is God in human form.
Okay, well, maybe we don't have any test on God because God's not real.
It's more plausible to believe that there is a supernatural than there isn't.
Interesting, because all the evidence we currently have suggests that there is no supernatural. But you're saying it's more reasonable to believe the thing that is against all the evidence that we have. How so?
What evidence do we have against the supernatural?
So you can't prove the non-existence of something. You would have to show me evidence in favor of the supernatural
You
existing,
just
of
told me
which
that
there
there.
isn't any. Sorry?
You just told me that there's evidence against the supernatural. So I'm asking you, what is the evidence?
Yeah, my evidence would be that it's never been observed.
That's not. That's not evidence against it.
It's certainly not evidence for it.
I didn't say. I was asking you, and you're not providing me any evidence.
Yeah, again, you cannot prove the non-existence of something, so I cannot prove to you the non-existence of the supernatural. You would need to show me evidence that suggests there is something supernatural.
Yeah, I'm not asking for proof, but you said earlier that there's evidence against there being a God. So going in that direction, I'm
You're,
asking you
you're,
the
you're kind of
question: what was
misrepresenting the
it?
conversation. So I said all the evidence that we have, just all the observations we've ever made are only about natural things. None of the observations that we've made have ever been about supernatural things. So all of our evidence is in favor of natural things, not supernatural things. So give me a reason to believe that the supernatural exists.
I believe that because there's innate order in the universe that it points to an intelligent being.
Innate order. I don't think there's innate order, but how would that point to a supernatural being?
Because everything that has order has an intelligent mind behind it.
That's begging the question.
That's what we observe on this earth. When we see buildings and things of that nature, it requires an intelligent mind.
Well, I would
So,
argue that there are plenty of things that have order that don't require an intelligent mind. So again, you're
such
begging the
as what?
question by saying it must have a creator if you think it is designed. Yeah, to even say that it's designed is begging the question. So
Okay, so what is something that is ordered but hasn't been designed?
yeah, the ratio of petals inside of a flower.
Okay, well, we're arguing about nature. So you grabbing something that is from nature, which is I'm arguing that that's God, is unproductive.
Yeah,
So
see,
my
that's why it's important to clarify because you're begging the question by saying that it is designed. You have to prove to me that something has to be designed if there is any sort of order to it.
because, like I said earlier, I can only allude to human experiences, right? So when I say things like things that are ordered have been designed, I'm talking about things that humans have created or animals have designed, like a
Well,
beaver builds a dam,
yeah,
things
if
of
you only
that
look
nature,
at
right?
things that have been created or designed, you're going to see them as created or designed.
Yeah, but it's not about looking at things that are created or designed. You're observing that those things have order. And I'm saying because
Which would be
in,
looking at them. Yeah, again, you're saying, well, we can only look at the things that have been created by people, and since those things have been created by people, that means that anything with order must have to, that's not, you're putting the cart before the horse there, Ivy.
I don't understand, like
I
my
have no reason to believe that any sort of order necessitates design. There are things that we know how they were made, and we can attribute those to a designer, but there are things that I would say don't require a designer, even if they have some sort of order to them.
like what?
I already gave you an example.
So all your examples have to do with nature?
Yes, because that's what we're talking about, Ivy.
If we're talking about nature, your examples being like my examples were of human descent, of things that humans have done.
Yes, which is the problem, Ivy.
How is that? So you're saying my examples are flawed because of that?
Just because some things that have order are designed does not mean that order necessitates a designer. But you're
Okay, so
specifically choosing examples that do have a designer to say that that applies to anything with any sort of order or complexity.
Okay, but the only other option is that either chaos or nothingness can create about order. So what are you? So like, that's the most plausible thing. That's why I said it's the most plausible thing to believe. So where does chaos or nothingness create order? Where do you observe that?
Well, I don't claim nothingness creates order.
Okay, so where does chaos create order? Because those are the only other options.
What do you mean when you say chaos?
Chaos, like I know people who believe that we are just brought about by random assortments of matter and energy in the universe, and then the
that's
explosion.
Chaos?
Yeah, there's no order within that, so that's chaos, is what I'm saying.
Yes, I would say the chaos would be like disorder. So you're asking like how order can come out of disorder?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say there are brute facts of the universe. We can like look into those brute facts and derive certain concepts or constants like gravity, for example. So from the disorder, gravity pulls particles together to create celestial bodies, to create planets. That is order out of chaos, so to speak.
And you believe that more to be more plausible than there being a supernatural?
Once again, I've not been shown any evidence of a god.
Okay. Do you believe in free will?
Are you just gonna keep pivoting every time you get caught in a corner?
No, this is getting circular because you won't give me any example that is not of nature, which is what we're arguing about. So there's no point in.
Yeah, we are arguing about nature, so why would I give you something not natural?
Because I'm saying that nature comes from God. You're saying that nature comes from either nothingness or chaos. So you alluding to an example that is of nature is unproductive. Do you understand that? My examples had to do with
your
mankind.
example is flawed. Yeah, your example has to do with mankind because you are presupposing that order necessitates a designer. So you are cherry picking examples of order that does have a designer to say that that applies to anything with order. But that is not the case.
I'm presupposing that order comes from the designer because of X amount of evidence. You are presupposing that order does not have to come out. Please let me finish. I'm not cutting you off. Please let me finish. You are presupposing that order does not have to come about of a designer because of no evidence. So I'm asking you, where do we get this from? We are arguing about nature. So when you say things like, oh, a sunflower, oh, this, that, and third, that I'm saying that God created that. Your
Show
argument
me
is
evidence
that God
to believe that.
I just gave you that when I spoke about mankind. My evidence.
But that's not natural things. You cannot
finish.
use unnatural examples to talk about the natural world, Ivy. That's where it breaks down.
If I tell you that God created nature because look at nature or something like that, alluding to a natural example, that's nonsensical. So when I allude to things that we know of, which is mankind building buildings or creating things and bringing about order from an intelligent mind, that goes somewhere.
The question. When you only choose things that have a designer, you are begging the question.
I disagree. I don't know. It just seems like your thought process is more of a leap of faith than mine.
My thought process is a leap of faith.
It's seeming like you're rejecting science.
Your thought process is, well, humans build buildings, so there must be a magic sky wizard who made Earth.
And yours is, we never observed chaos create anything, so I'm going to believe that it created the universe.
No, not at all. So mine is, we've observed gravitational forces pull particles together. We know that it's an attractive force. We've actually worked out exactly what the constant is and how it's proportional to the mass of the two objects, and it's reversely proportional to the distance between the two objects. From that, we've been able to see how particles can be pulled together by gravity to form celestial bodies and planets, which would be, again, order out of disorder, the way that you're describing it. So we have examples of this happening. We've observed this happening ourselves, which to me suggests that there is no need to have a designer for complexity. but you've basically just hit me with but buildings are built by builders. Okay, we've
According,
observed how buildings are made. We haven't observed how the universe, if it even came into being.
according to the Big Bang, or most scientists believe that the universe had a beginning. Do you believe that?
No, that's false.
Do you believe that it was eternal?
I'm leaning more towards an eternal universe, but in a recent poll at like a conference of physicists, 68% said that the truth of the Big Bang has nothing to do with whether or not there was an absolute beginning to the universe or whether time began. It was a change of states.
So, do you believe the concept of something being eternal to be a natural thing?
Yeah, because I would say the universe is eternal and natural.
Okay. Do you believe we have free will?
Stop pivoting to that, man.
Wait, are we not done with this? Like, we're not getting anywhere with the
Okay,
order
all
and
right.
design.
Have a good night then. Next. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
My name is Josh. I'm 18. I'm from South Africa, and I'm a he/him.
All right, Josh. What's your religion or lack thereof?
So, myself, I was born a Christian.
Okay, what is your religion or lack thereof?
Christian.
Great.
I'm a Christian.
Cool. So why do Christians reject science?
It depends on what you define as science. If you mean by the creation of the universe being a Big Bang, then I personally don't believe in it, but it depends on what you define as science.
Hard to the last conversation, did you?
No, not particularly, no.
Yeah,
I was
that's like 90
busy.
seconds ago. I just said how the majority of physicists say that the Big Bang is not the beginning of the universe. It doesn't make a statement as to whether or not that was the beginning of time. It's just it was a change in states of our universe into the universe that we currently know. Yeah, when I'm talking about science is not really defined as the creation of the universe. Yeah, so when I'm talking about science, I'm talking about just how we make observations about the world around us and how we are able to make sense of things through empirical evidence.
Okay.
And just, if you want to say that they reject many things that are the scientific consensus, if you'd rather phrase it that way, I would also say that that's an accurate statement.
Okay, I just wanted to get what you meant by rejecting science. That's all I wanted. I also just want to ask what you think about the Dead Sea Scrolls that they found that speak about, I'm not exactly what book of the Bible it is, but it was written 2,000 years before that book was written in the Bible. So I just want to know what you think about that. And it speaks about a lot of other things in depth.
Yeah, I don't think that's super relevant to the conversation we're having right now, Josh. It feels like that's something that you wanted to talk about. We're talking about this tonight, bud.
Okay. Sorry, I thought it was more of a just overall debate on how things started and
yeah, it's not really a bring your own topic sort of stream, right? It's the one I put in big letters above my head.
Nah, actually can't see that.
Do you know where you are?
Nah.
All right, have a good one, Josh. Well, that was so obviously going to be a waste of my time. Sorry. Christians don't reject science. I am unfortunately not aware. Interesting. I wonder how not aware I am. Because many of just like the basic stories in the Bible are rejections of science. So I don't know why it's been showing my door handle in my background a lot recently. It didn't used to do that. How are we doing tonight, everybody? It was great being on Truth Wanted last night. I had a ton of fun. If you missed it, it was me and Godless Engineer. The replay is up on their channel. So if you want to go watch me on Truth Wanted, it was great. To those on TikTok, I'm sorry about the last guest, because I know for you guys, that last guest was just talking over me the entire time, but over on the YouTube side, he was nice and muted anytime he tried to talk over me. So if you want to hear what that conversation sounded like from my perspective, go and watch the VOD up on YouTube. Show that some love. Also, let me pop up our follow goal. Look at that, we're close to 9,100. That is so wild. Thank you guys so much for that. But what do I always say? That could be bigger. One last little thing. I am moving RAMSASS tomorrow to a night show. So it's going to be around this time tomorrow night because I have a callback for a thing. So I am going to be doing that first, and I don't want to wear my voice out before I go to that. But I'm also going to be streaming that RAMSASS on YouTube as well. So we're going to have a simul stream on TikTok and YouTube of RAMSASS. So I know Sunday school's usually in the morning, but I have a callback. I have, ironically, a callback to play a very repressed Christian girl who goes absolutely crazy. If you guys have ever seen the show Nerdy Prudes Must Die, I got a callback for that show, and I'm so very excited because it's one of my favorites. So I'm going to be doing that before RAMSASS. So I'll have callbacks in the afternoon, and then I'll be on here at night. Once again, I will be streaming both to TikTok and to YouTube at the same time. So hopefully this VOD will be up tomorrow afternoon, so people will see this. They might be wondering, like, hey, why'd we miss RAMSASS? But you'll be able to catch it tonight. So next up we have Michael.
Hello?
Hey there. Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
I don't have pronouns.
You just
I'm a
use
follower
one.
of Jesus Christ, though.
You just use some. So, Michael, how old are you?
54.
Great. And if chat was going to refer to you, would they call you a she, a they, a he, something else?
He.
Great.
To be respectful to you.
Wonderful. All right. So you said you were a follower of Christ, correct?
Yep.
So are you a Christian?
I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. Glory to God.
So are you a Christian?
I'm a follower of Jesus Christ.
All right, Michael, I'm not trying to go on a loop with you here, all right? Like those vinyl records. So you can say yes, you are a Christian, or no, you are not a Christian.
Yes.
Yes, you are a Christian. Wonderful. It's so weird how you're like not wanting to say that. So why do Christians reject science?
I don't reject science. God created science.
Do you think that Jesus was born of a virgin?
Yes.
You just rejected science.
How?
Because Homo sapiens is an anisogamous species. They require a small Oh, he's gone. That was quick. All right, bye, Michael, I guess. I started to say one word that's had a couple too many syllables for him, I guess. Well, we've got another person with the name Michael up here.
Hi there.
Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Yes, Sam, 24, and pronouns are he, they.
All right, Sam, what is your religion or lack thereof?
So, I just wanted to come in and say hello. I've been on another live before, Born Again Atheist. I'm sure that you...
Boma, yeah.
Yeah. I was, at one point, a Christian. Or rather, I've always been. I don't know if I answered your question there. I'm pagan. I always have been, but I went on to Born Again Atheist live once a couple of months ago in defense of Christianity, and since then, I've not had the best experiences. I will say.
Okay.
I had a conversation with a gentleman at one point who was vehemently, like I can't even describe how confident he was, because to the Christians I was very, very much a pagan, and to the non-believers I was very much, a Christian, believer. Kind of depended on who I was talking to, but he was very adamantly certain that his religion, Christianity, was older than paganism. And
Interesting.
I couldn't get that out of my head. He convinced me that I was wrong, that paganism was in fact younger than Christianity through some Google wizardry. And he was a part of a Discord, and I'm no longer a part of it anymore. I left. I've just now gone back to, I had blocked Born Again Atheist, and I just kind of come back to your side of the story. And to be quite honest, it makes a lot more sense. I never really believed it to begin with, but it makes a lot more sense than what I've been being told is like, Christianity older than paganism is stupid. It makes no sense. And not only that, but the fact that Christians have borrowed so much from pagans, and this specific Christian just completely refuses to even acknowledge it. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I absolutely do. I will say I typically try to keep it to just ops up here. It seems like we're not going to
I'm sorry.
disagree on. No worries, Sam, but I am going to go ahead and let you go and bring up our next guest.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Absolutely. You have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
True Investments, welcome up. What? Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Hello, my age is 40. Pronouns is True Investments, and I believe in God.
Those are not pronouns. What do you want to be called, first of all?
True Investments.
Gotcha. And if chat were going to refer to you, would they say she, they, he?
I don't know what you mean. B, A, C, B, or E?
If they were talking about you, would it be accurate for them to say, he said this?
I guess.
Thanks for farting on my stream. All right.
He.
All right. What is your religion or lack thereof?
Christian. I'm Baptist.
All right. So why do Christians reject science?
We don't reject science. We believe that God made science. He made all the big boom, the ark, all this stuff.
Oh, do you
God
believe that the
made it.
ark is true?
Of course.
Then you absolutely reject science.
Nope, the ark was scientific.
No, it's not.
Noah
Give me any scientific evidence of the ark.
we found it up in China or in Kentucky.
No.
They have a whole ark in
Kentucky. That's a museum built by Ken Ham.
No,
That's not
it's
the
an ark.
actual ark.
It's not?
No.
Well, I thought, but they found the other one. There's two. Noah made two of them.
No.
One in Kentucky, the other in, I think it's Greece.
You're very
Turkey.
entertaining, but please don't waste my time.
I'm not wasting time.
You are, if you're saying that there was an ark in China and or Kentucky.
Turkey. That's where. Ron Wyatt found our ark.
True Investments.
We also
if I
have
continue to
the
have a
shroud.
conversation.
We have the
I feel
Shroud
like
of Turin.
The Shroud of Turin is super not real. I don't know. Continuing to have a conversation with you feels like bullying, so I think I have to let you go. But you have a good rest of your evening.
The Shrine of Turin ain't real?
The Shrine of Turin ain't real? I can make fun of the accent because I'm from the South. Alright? I'm from Alabama.
Hi there.
Hey, Aslan. Can I get your name and pronouns, please?
I'm Aslan, and my pronouns are he, him. Can you hear me okay?
I can. How old are you, Aslan?
Oh, I'm 21.
Alright, what is your religion or lack thereof?
I am not a believer. I believe in science. That's what I like to say.
Okay. I do typically just talk to people who are Christian.
I heard that you say you don't really like talking with, or you prefer to talk with the ops, but I just wanted to mention a really interesting piece from a research paper that I'm doing on this topic. If not, that's totally okay.
Sure, if you have something that you think is pertinent.
Okay, yes. It actually goes along with, at least in America, particularly the South, Christianity and the anti-evolutionary people, it stems a lot off of racism. In the USA, I mean, in the 1920s, back when we were trying to move away from creationism and move into learning about evolution, because we had found out that that was the truth. I mean, the general consensus believes that that's what
Evolution is factual.
Yeah. But evolution states that we were not created perfect by the hand of God, that people evolved from Africa. And a lot of people didn't like that. So a lot of Christians who were pushing creationism, even after separating the church and state, they kept trying to push it. They kept trying to vilify evolutionary theory and scientists, and it keeps going on to this day. And I just think that that's so interesting that we can see now the Christian conservative movement and how large of an issue this is, and how it just perpetuates racism.
Yeah, I'd say there's a long history of this being prevalent, especially in the South. And we all know what the South is famous for. So I could definitely see a correlation there with people wanting to reject certain principles of evolution because they don't like the idea of Homo sapiens originating from Africa. That's not something that I've extensively studied, at least like Southern, like American Southerners' opinions on evolution in regards to like racist ideologies. But that is some neat insight, and I appreciate you sharing it. I am going to go ahead and move on to our next guest, but thank you for coming up, Aslan.
Cool beans. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have a good one. Awakened Soul, I'm a Southerner. You think I'm coming on here being like, yes, all Southerners are racist, every single one of them. And you're not even a Southerner. Alright, so you're indignant on behalf of a group that you're not a part of, but I am. Interesting. Can I explain why I raised this question? Yeah, to encourage conversation and to try to fight against some of the anti-science rhetoric that I see, particularly in religious communities. This guest is not loading in. I will give you another shot. Toad Boy, I kind of already know you're a friendly at this point. Yeah, to a couple people who are saying things about, racism in the South. Yeah, as someone who grew up in the South, it's definitely something that I encountered. Um, I think one of the things that I found so damaging that I'm trying to think about how to phrase this carefully. Our current administration has done a lot of shitty things. One of those shitty things is trying to erase the racism in our nation's history. Trying to rewrite it because they have to have this ideal version of America. That's why they're trying to say that, like, slavery was actually beneficial for the slaves because it gave them economic opportunity. They were fucking slaves. But trying to turn it into this, like, this rose-colored depiction of American history, that is just to try to create a false, perfect picture of American history. I remember when I was young, my class went on a field trip to the Civil Rights Museum, and we were told the story of Emmett Till, and I was in maybe 4th grade, and I remember all of us, like, sobbing because it was a graphic story. It was a horrific story, and to hear that, people did this to a child who was not much older than us was very, very scary. And I remember my parents being upset because they're like, that's way too graphic to tell young children. But again, Emmett Till was only a little bit older than we were. This was the reality for Black children in the segregated South under Jim Crow, when the South still had slaves. It's so important to recognize that reality rather than trying to erase it or trying to whitewash it to try to create a better image of our country. You've probably often heard it said that, those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it. That's a period of our country's history that I never, ever want us to repeat. But if we are trying to rewrite history to make ourselves look like we were always the good guys, that makes us feel like we don't have to change anything from what we're doing. We don't have to work towards any more progress because it's like, oh, well, we're already fine. We're so perfect and we've always done everything great, and somehow slavery was fucking good. So that's something to me that it's really, really bothered me, seeing the way that this administration has rewritten history, among many, many, many other horrific things that this administration has done. Hey, okay, good. I can hear you this time, but I can't hear you when you're out of the app. There you are. Can I get your name?
I'm in the app,
please.
Okay, so my name is Corbin. My pronouns are he, him, and I am 18.
Okay. What is your religion or lack thereof?
Okay, so I am Christian, and I don't have a branch. I just read the Bible.
Okay. Well, why do Christians reject science?
Okay, so I wouldn't argue that Christians reject science. I'd argue that atheists reject science.
Interesting.
Because, okay, there's many reasons.
Well, I just...
This one's kind of a sensitive topic for me, but...
I just want to say first, atheism is not a belief system. So something that is not a belief system can't, like, make claims of certain beliefs, right?
Well, what's your religion?
I don't have a religion.
So you're atheist.
But atheism isn't a religion.
But that's your belief.
It's a lack of religion. It's a lack of a belief. It is not in itself a belief.
Okay, but anyway, my main point was I know something about atheists that they do stuff that's really triggering. I know when my family has atheists, and every night the atheists they like to get their fingers and just shove it up their bum.
We're all laughing. That was like 2nd grade humor, dude. I think even the people who would be on your side notice that makes you look like an asshole. Like, major eye roll on that one, kid. That's right, Face Muffins. Atheism is factually amazing. I was ready on the disconnect button on that one, just because something about that was strange. But wow, what a real lineup of guests we've had. It's interesting whenever I hear the, like, atheism is a religion argument, because I've actually heard that earnestly argued before. And I always try to hit him with the, you know, is it a hobby to not collect stamps, or is it a sport to not play golf? Because atheism itself is just a lack of belief in a god or gods. It's not a belief system. So. A non-stamp collector. Woo! Oh wow, anti-theist, I was just going to mute that person. You already had blocked them and muted them. Wonderful. Tony asks how the universe was created. It wasn't. The universe was not created. Very, very simple explanation there. Oh. People really do want there to be a big dude in the sky. I wish we could get, like, a good guest request. I don't know. Maybe it's not meant to be tonight. Once again, quick little announcement. Tomorrow's RAMSASS is going to be a night show, because I have a thing. But it is also going to be simulcast onto YouTube. So, you can watch it there. You can watch it here. We'll be ramming ass on both platforms. Woo woo. If you wouldn't mind tapping the screen so maybe we can get some more Christians in here to debate with us. Tonight we're going to share with someone who sticks their fingers up their bum. So share the live with your friend who probably sticks their fingers up their bum. Not their ass. If they stick their fingers up their ass, they don't count. Got to be the bum. I should have brought my water in here, but so I'm just gonna have a little snack. Oh. Contra Deity, it is good to see you. Hannah, holy shit, you just shared it with so many people. Hannah, you're friends with some freaks. Girls Gone Godless, I know. I know you, all three y'all. Fingers and bums every single night. Once you've been blocked, don't try to come back in. Someone asked what I'm snacking on. It's dark chocolate mint creams from Trader Joe's. Very yummy. Leslie, hey! You only put toes up bums in your family. Well, that's fair. Level maxing. I saw your comment earlier, and it seems like you're a friendly, not an op. So can you just confirm in chat for me? You dropped. All right. I'll assume that was an accidental request then. Yeah, these are really, really good. I should probably have them taken away from me because you are an op. Interesting. Okay.
Michael.
Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
My name is Michael, and I'm 21, and my pronouns are him.
All right, Michael. What is your religion or lack thereof?
I'm Christian.
All right.
I
Why do
believe in
Christians
God.
reject science?
I think because science takes faith.
Science takes faith. That's interesting because the process of science is specifically to minimize the amount of faith that you have to use to draw conclusions about the world around you. So why would you say that science takes faith when every part of science is meant to reduce the amount of faith that you must have?
Because most people that believe in science don't actually look into it, they blindly believe it.
Okay, that's not really saying why it's faith.
Everything takes faith.
Not everything.
Most things.
Some things, but science, again, specifically takes steps to try to minimize the amount of faith that you have to make observations. That's why it's based off of empirical evidence. That's why it is based on repeatable experimentation, empirical observations.
Do you believe the universe always existed?
I think that's the most reasonable explanation I've seen thus far, given that time couldn't have been created and must have necessarily always existed.
Okay, well, if the universe has always existed, how come my dad told me no?
When what? You asked if he loved you? Have a good one. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Yeah, of course. I just say it. My name's Corbin, and I'm really happy I've turned.
Can you not harass me, please? Making a second account to come in and try to join my live again after I dropped you is...
Hey.
Hey, can I get your...
adding me.
Yeah, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Tom, he, him, and 57.
You said Tom?
Yep, Tom.
All right.
So...
Oh, what's your
not all
religion or lack
Christians,
thereof?
Atheist.
All right, have a good one. Sorry. I don't really know what to tell you about that one. I've let so many people up tonight. I'm just trying to talk to the Christians. No degree. I do not want you to join, actually. I think I would rather be fucked with a jackhammer. That's a fun little twist on fuck me gently with a chainsaw. I'm not scared of No Degree, Casey. We just get nowhere. He says disgusting stuff, and then he just keeps over-talking me until I have to kick him. I'm very, very tired of that song and dance. I really am. Do I have a cat? I have two. My partner and I have two cats. They're lovely. If I were in our like larger office space, they'd probably come and visit us, but I'm in my closet. It is good to have ops. I feel like it would be a repeat of every single conversation I've had with no degree. Thank you, Daredevil. Very kind of you to say. Fucking Jamal's here. What did I do to get this lineup tonight? What did I do? Fucking hell. And Bobby. Wowie. Woo! Oh, boy. Hi, Dr. Joe. Oh, it's lovely to see you. Oh, fuck, it's nice to see you. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just worn down tonight, but just, come on, give me a fucking break with some of these people that are in here. Bobby, who still says hurl? Now all we need is bitter truth. Don't say that he will appear. And someone says Darth Dawkins. If you guys say their names, they're gonna appear. And I don't want that. I don't want that. I haven't won a debate since never. I haven't won a debate since never. So wouldn't that mean that I win all the debates? Like, if it's true that I never don't win debates, then that would mean that I win all debates. So thank you, Jamal. That's kind of you to say. Am I afraid of Darth Dawkins? No. I just feel bad letting someone's son down on stream, you know? Thank you for the heart me. Hi, Sunny. Good to see you. Some women should probably be afraid of Darth Dawkins. Maybe so. Maybe so. Honestly, some women should be afraid of a lot of the men that I get in here. Any of the ones that try to make excuses for grape, scary. Scary. I'm gonna make this disappear for a second, because I don't know, I feel weird having it above my head the entire stream. My goodness. But it is a lovely Saturday night. I am excited for RAMSASS tomorrow. Can I also get, if you watched Truth Wanted last night, can I get a 1 in chat just to see who here happened to catch that? Because I had a lot of fun doing it. Me and Godless Engineer. Okay, I'm seeing some 1s. Nice, nice, nice. Thank you guys. And Sassafras, thank you for watching for 500 minutes. Wow, my goodness. The last 15 minutes and the last 8 minutes. Okay, well, you guys probably saw the TikTok version of that last conversation. You should check the YouTube version if you want to hear how I heard that conversation going. Because on my end, they muted him every time he started talking over me, which was great. So if you want to actually hear what I was saying, you can go watch the VOD on YouTube and leave him a little comment. Just give him some interaction. So you'll actually get to hear the conversation instead of just hearing him and his family yelling over me the whole time. So that's strange. But it was a fun show. But yeah, the last guy that we had call in just screamed over me and got his kids to start like screaming over me too. So why is it always against Christians and no other religion? Well, I was a Christian, so I talk about the religion that I was a part of and know very well because of that. So I do also criticize other religions, but my content centers around Christianity because that's what I was for almost 2 decades. Thank you for that heartbeat. Oh, sorry, y'all. Ugh, I know yawns are contagious too, so hopefully I just made some of you start yawning as well. What made me change my mind? Yeah, so it was a combination of things. It wasn't like one particular moment where I was like, oh, Christianity is fake. It was kind of like a gradual process. Where it was like, okay, some of these things that I'm being taught don't quite make sense to me, but I guess it's just like something I don't understand yet, and maybe when I'm older I'll understand it. And then it's like, okay, some of these things I just can't justify anymore. I see the way that like Christians are treating people, and they're able to support that poor treatment with the text of the Bible. So then I started saying that like I was still Christian, I still had a relationship with Jesus, but I didn't like Christianity as like an organization or like the institution of the church. And then I kind of just from there found myself more and more comfortable not having to assign myself to any particular religion. It was kind of a scary process for a while, because if you are a Christian and you start to doubt God, it feels like you're doubting him to his face, because it feels like you like, oh, well, if he is still real, then he can hear my thoughts and he knows I'm doubting him and I'm going to be punished for that, or I'm sinning by to be. It's one of the scariest parts of deconstructing. But on the other side of that, one of the best and most relieving parts of deconstructing was when I finally realized that there wasn't anyone policing my thoughts, that I could be alone in my own head again, that I could have ownership of my mind, and that no one ever had to like look into my head and try to see whether or not I was sinning against some deity, right? My mind is my own, and that was such a source of peace for me once I finally came out on the other side of it. So that's one of the better parts, I would say, of deconstructing. Because thought policing, not fun. And some Christians try to be like, well, it never says that God polices your thoughts, but like Jesus says that if you have anger in your heart, it's the same thing as unaliving somebody. And if you look at someone with lust, that's just as bad as having already committed adultery. No, Degree, I'd rather you didn't request. I don't think I'm up to talking to you tonight. I don't think I have the spoons for it. I just really don't. What about having anger in your knees? My knees are pretty angry. My knees are angry because I was a distance runner, and then I did mid-distance track and field, even up to collegiate. I did D1 ACC track and field, and so my knees are fucked. No, Degree, that's a very kind statement of yours, but again, I am non-binary. I use they, them pronouns. So saying that you value women's consent does not really apply. No, that's not me telling you that you could still request. I'd still rather you didn't. Oh, fucking hell.
Body mouth. Yeah, I came here to refute your claim here that Christians reject science.
That's a question.
Well, it's a claim. You're presupposing that Christians actually reject science. So I did my little research, just like 5 seconds, right? Mm. And 72% of those who won't run Nobel Prizes in physics, 72% were Christian. But they supposedly reject science? How does that compute?
Yeah, so that makes no bearing over whether or not Christians largely reject science, just because you found some that you claim don't reject portions of science. I would say that those people as Christians still do reject parts of science. Maybe just not because, like, their field is physics. So if they believe in a virgin birth, that's not necessarily going against like physics, right? That'd be going against biology. So because there are different fields of science, you can accept some parts and reject others. So I would say that those physicists do still reject parts of science. Yeah, they reject biology.
Yeah, and when it comes to chemistry, again, this is over 70%
Yeah, did you not hear
of
what I
those who won
just
Nobel
said?
Prizes in chemistry were Christian,
Yeah,
but they reject science.
So again, there's different fields of science.
Uh-huh.
So you can accept some parts of science and reject others and still be one who
Oh my
rejects
goodness.
science.
Okay, so you're just like splitting hairs here, so
No, friend.
amazing.
What I'm saying is if you reject some studies within science, you are rejecting science.
Okay,
And
well,
when I
can
say
you
study,
substantiate?
I don't mean specific experiments. I mean like the study of biology, the study of physics, study
Okay,
of
well,
chemistry.
can you conceive like some of the most renowned, greatest scientists in human history have been Christians?
Some of them, sure.
Okay. So
Again,
like this
there's
kind
there's
of
different
undermines your
disciplines.
notion here, doesn't it? It
No,
undermines
because
your
again, Jamal,
proposition
if you
here.
can just use a shred of critical thinking, we can say, hey, if you are a physicist and you reject biology, you're still rejecting science.
So if I name to you renowned Christian scientists in the
would not
fields
fucking
of
matter whatsoever.
biology, then what?
Renowned. I'm not sure the ones that you are going to mention actually follow the scientific consensus.
Just because if you don't follow the consensus, does that make you like less of a valid scientist? Like, I'm trying to understand your reasoning here.
If you reject the consensus about things like the existence of evolution or like the age of the Earth, then yes, you're rejecting science. And I have just the strangest feeling, having talked to you before, that every single person you would bring up would be like a young Earth creationist or anti-evolution. Is that accurate to say, Jamal?
I wouldn't know their position. I wouldn't know their position on that. But I name you some, like Dr. James Tour. He's a well, he's not technically a biologist. He's an organic chemist.
That's what I was about to point out.
But he criticizes the hypothesis of abiogenesis, and but he's a Christian, and he's well respected. He's a reputable scientist. So, what do you say about that? He's just what?
Yeah,
he's like an outlier.
You said you were gonna name a biologist, and you didn't.
I mean, like we have, let's see. I mean, we have Louis Pasteur, Greg Mendel. I mean, hey, they're biologists.
Can we get someone from the last 100 years?
Last 100 years.
Yeah, can we give someone who would have known of electricity's existence?
Sure. I mean, Stephen Meyer is he a biologist? I think. Let me check. Dr. Stephen Meyer credentials. So, won't you just be more specific and be like Christians supposedly reject biology?
Yeah. Do you think that Jesus was born of a virgin?
Yeah, just because you believe in.
Can you answer the question, Jamal?
Sure, but doesn't negate
that's rejecting biology.
No, because scientists does not just because you believe in science does not entail that you disbelieve supernatural events, right? You can still be a scientist and believe in science, right? But still believe in believe in miracles.
Science says that we are an anisogamous sexually reproducing species. So to reproduce, it would require a small gamete and a large gamete uniting.
Great.
Which is not what happened during the supposed virgin birth,
Sure.
so that would be rejecting science.
But it doesn't mean that you can't believe in miracles. That was a miracle, okay? So you can still be a
science
scientist.
To say that it is possible for there to be conception without.
Can you prove scientifically that it's impossible for miracles to happen?
You can't prove the non-existence of something.
Okay, so you can't prove it. So It doesn't go
Okay,
against science
Jamal,
to believe in miracles.
can you disprove the floating teapot orbiting Jupiter?
No, I can't disprove it.
Because you can't disprove the existence. You can't prove the non-existence, rather, of anything. So that doesn't really get us anywhere.
Yeah, but like you have to prove that such a miracle is impossible, and you can't.
No,
right?
you would have to prove to me that such a miracle is possible. That's not how it works. It's not on me to try to prove the negative. It's on you to prove the positive.
If you're gonna make the onus is on you because you're the one that making the assertion that it goes against science or it's impossible. So the onus is on actually
I said
you.
it goes against science.
How?
You're saying, well, miracles are possible, so show me evidence that miracles are possible.
Show me scientifically that it goes against science. Like how?
I already explained it to you. We're an anisogamous, sexually reproducing species that requires the uniting of a small and large gamete
We're going
to
in
form
circles.
a zygote.
It was a
yeah, because you asked me something you'd already asked.
It was a miraculous event.
So show to me why I should believe that that's what happened.
I mean, it's up to you to believe. You don't have to believe it, right?
Give me
but
evidence.
It doesn't. Well, I mean,
that's not a dirty word, Jamal. I know you hate profanity, but evidence is not part of that.
Yeah, well, we have testimonies of this happening. You don't have to believe it. It's up to you.
Testimonies of the virgin birth. Eyewitnesses?
Which was actually which was prophesied, right?
Eyewitness? No, it wasn't.
Actually, yeah, it was in
the
Isaiah
prophecy says
7,
young woman,
14.
not virgin. That says young woman, not virgin. And I know you know that because I know you've talked to people who have cooked you on that before, Jamal. But where are the eyewitnesses to the virgin birth?
It means virgin. It can be virgin in Hebrew.
Where are the eyewitness testimonies of the Immaculate Conception and the virgin birth?
Yeah, the writers of the event, like well, I wouldn't say they're eyewitnesses, but
precisely, we don't have any eyewitness testimonies, so we have hearsay at best.
Okay, which was actually prophesied, even all the way back to the Book of Genesis, right?
I know so many people have told you that the verse you're talking about says young woman, not virgin.
In Hebrew, it can mean virgin. Just look it up. Like, my goodness.
You just refuse to accept the evidence right in front of you, and that's why it's so frustrating to talk to you.
What do you mean, what evidence? What evidence have you brought forth that refutes Christianity?
Yeah,
nothing, zilch, nada.
So when talking about the virgin birth, I explained to you how that was against what science says. You claim that...
oh my goodness.
You claim that there were eyewitnesses, or that there was eyewitness testimony to it. When further questioned, you admitted it wasn't eyewitness testimony. So, yeah, I think I have presented a pretty strong case against you. You've given me no evidence to believe your side of things. Not really.
I mean, it's up to you to believe that claim, and you don't want to believe, that's on you. But that does not mean that Christians reject science.
I don't like believing things without evidence.
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, I think for a lot of Christians, their standard of evidence to believe things like that is like, at a different level than yours, and that's fine. We're all different, And that like they're like Christians that work at like fertility clinics. They believe in the whole process and whatnot. How they know how it works, right? They know about the human reproductive system, but they still believe in the virgin birth. Okay, so those two things are not mutually exclusive, right? You can still believe in science, right? They obviously believe in science if they're in that field, right? They must have a degree.
You can't believe in and reject science.
Oh my goodness.
That would be a contradiction.
You
talk for like 3 minutes, Jamal. Can you shut the fuck up for 10 seconds while I'm talking? Fuck.
Okay. Oh my goodness, you're potty mouth. Go ahead.
I always am. Yeah, working at a fertility clinic, you can still reject science if you reject basic principles of biology.
No.
You cannot both hold that, this principle is true and that is not true.
Again, you would have to substantiate that miracles, right? Miraculous events goes against science. and you haven't proven that. Is there anything in the natural world that says it's impossible, for a miracle to happen?
Miracles, by
Have we
definition, are
established that?
supernatural events.
Have we established something like
Are
that cannot
miracles
happen?
supernatural events?
Sure.
So they're outside of the natural world.
Okay, so that's
Something cannot align with nature and be outside of nature. That would be a contradiction. Therefore, miracles are not part of the natural world. That was very easy to establish, Jamal. That took like 10 seconds.
No, that doesn't compute. So we can say that science has its limitations, right? Because science is the study of natural phenomena, right? We can only study the physical realm, right? But that does not mean that it's impossible for supernatural events to happen. We just, like, that's out of the scope of science. That's out of the scope of science. No, it doesn't go against science. It's out of the scope of science. It doesn't go against science. Like, you don't understand this. Anyways, I think I cooked you long enough. Have a good night, robot.
Sit on a thumbtack, Jamal. Honestly, if he got something in his ass, he might be more bearable in the future. Why just one thumbtack? His hole's so tight, even that would gape it. Hey, engineer, thank you. I don't know, I'm running on empty tonight. I do not have patience for this shit. Thank you, Hannah. I hope J-Rob doesn't come up here next. I really... Thank you, Rat Soup, for saying I'm looking cute. It's not necessarily that mogs are in short supply. It's that I'm just getting a bunch of assholes up here tonight. So, it's wearing on me just a little bit. Oh, this looks like it's gonna be a really annoying conversation. Hey.
Hi, I did not mean to request. I'm not.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Sorry, honey.
Thank you. Have a good one. There was someone else who had requested. I skipped over them and they left, and I'm glad that they did. Thank you for coming up though, Silas, even if it was accidental. You did save me, Silas. Thank you. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Felix, 25, he, him.
Alright, what's your religion or lack thereof?
Islam.
Alright. And just for the record, I can see that your username says Felix the Muslim, but people on YouTube, when they're watching the replay, would not be able to. So, oh, you're teacupped, so I can't hear you. Why do Christians reject science?
We were trying to contact you regarding your car's extended warranty.
Thank
We just
you.
wanted to give you a chance to.
If I'm frustrated, then get a hobby. Alright. Now what? What now? Yeah, thank you. This is the progress I've got. I've only been working on this while streaming. It's gonna be a tote bag. I'm not knitting. That's correct. This is crochet. Well, thank you. It helps that the yarn is like striped, so it makes these pretty gradients without me having to do much of anything. I forget what part I was supposed to be on next, though. Oh, no, I remember now. Good color choice. Thank you. I had gotten this yarn ages ago, and I really needed to actually use it. Oh, don't tell me I did too many fucking rows of this. I did too many rows. I did too many rows, but I don't want to unravel. How far back did I change colors? Okay, we're gonna go back anyway. But this is not a crochet stream. Ugh, I'm sweaty. I'm sorry. You guys are gonna have to put up with a little bit of fan noise because it is also very hot in here. What am I making? It's gonna be a bag, but I gotta frog a few rows first. It's much easier with crochet than with knitting, because I can just, woo. Isn't the chat fan noise? That's funny. Well, I'm not really good at knitting either. That's why I crochet. I feel like I should eventually learn. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
I'm 23, Ridian, and I don't mind what you use.
No preferred pronouns?
No.
Alright, I expect you guys to respect your choice. So, Ridian, what is your religion or lack thereof?
I'm a Christian.
Why do Christians reject science?
I don't think they do.
Okay.
I think some do, sure.
Yeah, do you think the flood happened?
Not a global flood, no.
Okay. Do you think Jesus was born of a virgin?
Yeah. How would this be rejecting science?
Yeah, because that's not how babies are made, right?
Sure, I'd agree under natural circumstances that's true, but the incarnation by definition is supernatural.
Just asserting the existence of the supernatural is rejecting science.
How could you substantiate that?
What is science?
The study of the natural world.
Yeah.
So if something is supernatural, by definition, science is, it isn't the tool you would use to understand it.
Yeah, so if you're saying that there is a supernatural explanation, that would be rejecting natural explanations, which would be rejecting science.
That doesn't follow at all.
No?
Of course not. I mean, if we have a natural explanation for something, it doesn't then follow that there is only
rejecting a supernatural explanation, yeah.
In all cases?
If you're saying that there is a natural explanation, that is rejecting a supernatural explanation.
Yeah, sure, but I would say if you're claiming there's a supernatural explanation, that doesn't mean you're denying science. It means in this instance, you aren't using science to understand it.
Yeah, in that instance, you are denying science.
Do you think you deny science every time you don't use a naturalistic explanation?
Yeah.
Do you think in everything you do in life you use science to understand it?
I try to.
I'll ask a better question. Do you think that science can explain everything?
Everything that exists?
Sure. You think so?
Yeah, that was me saying, yeah, everything that exists.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, so it seems like you kind of fall into scientism. Is that true? Would that be accurate, rather?
Can you clarify what you're trying to ascribe to me?
Scientism is the belief that the only things we can believe or should believe are things that are scientifically verifiable.
In a way, I suppose. I don't know if I've ever heard it described that way.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of.
But I think that you should believe things when you're given evidence for them, right?
Say the last bit again. Sorry.
You should believe things when you're given evidence for them.
Oh yes, certainly.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're into scientism too.
No, I reject scientism because there are many things we believe that aren't scientifically verifiable. Sorry, things like morality or the kind of the fact I have an internal monologue. These things aren't verifiable by
Those
science.
things are absolutely scientifically verifiable.
We can verify morals.
We can verify that morals exist. Yeah.
Objective morals or just my feelings?
No, objective morals don't exist.
Sure. Even if we go with subjective morals, you can't prove this. These exist with science.
Yes, you can.
How so?
Yeah, you could do it like a demographic study.
Yeah, I'm
Psychology is a science. You know that, right?
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't deny that. I'm asking how you can use science to prove morals or morality.
To prove that people have morality?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so you would form a hypothesis about whether or not people have morality. You would design a way to...
Do you think people can lie?
Well, yeah, certainly people can lie, but there's a lot of places. There's a
So
lot of
how do we verify it?
Can you let me finish speaking? There's
Sure,
a lot of scientific studies that rely on self-reporting for their data. Does that invalidate them as scientific studies?
As opposed to something that isn't reliant on human opinion, sure.
That invalidates them as scientific studies.
In relation to something that doesn't require human opinion, yes.
That's
it doesn't
not what I'm
invalidate
asking.
Well, sure. I'm saying in comparison it does.
Yeah, but it's still scientific. So you're asking how we can do it scientifically. I'm giving you a way to do it.
Well, I don't think you are, because your answer to saying how we prove morality with science is listening to what people, basically surveying people. How would that be proving anything other than just personal opinion?
Morals are personal opinion.
Do you think that's a proof?
Morals are personal opinion, so asking people's personal opinion would be how we study whether or not they have morals. What claim are we making here? The claim that we're making is that people subjectively have morals. So how would we study that? By asking people whether or not they have morals.
Yeah. The claim I'm making is there are many things we believe that aren't scientifically verifiable.
Yeah, and the example you tried to give me failed. So can you give me another one?
Why? I give you two examples. I don't think it failed. I think your answer was insufficient. You just said, it's proved because they said so.
So when we're doing like depression studies and we ask people to tell us like their symptoms, is that not science?
How would it be science?
How would it be science?
Yeah, you're saying it's science because you get their opinions on the symptoms they're having.
Yeah, so you're doing a survey of a relevant group to make determinations about maybe the efficacy of a medication, for example. Yeah, that's a completely valid method of science. Again, psychology is science.
Well, it's not a hard science, but sure, I'd agree with that.
Cool. All right, glad we got through that.
Well, I don't think it's how you think, but sure, we can go on to the next example, which is we have internal monologues, and things like that aren't.
Not all people do.
Verifiable with science. Well, let's say I do. How would you verify that with science? Again, would you just ask my opinion?
No, I would ask your experience. It's not really your opinion.
Oh, sure, I'll ask my opinion, and let's say I have it. You think that's proof I have one? Do you think we should just believe everyone because they claim something?
I think when specifically what we're trying to prove is whether or not people have certain personal experiences, it's completely valid to ask them about those personal experiences.
Well, sure. Then if you were to ask me and I said yes, do you think that's a proof that I have one?
I think it's evidence that you do. Science never claims to prove anything definitively. That would be bad science.
What do you think science aims to do?
Science aims to show us the most likely explanation based off of evidence.
Sure, and you think the most likely explanation is what?
That if we're asking whether or not people have an internal monologue and we ask someone and they say that they do, that they do.
So just believe them because they say so.
Yep. Once again, if science is not claiming anything like with 100%, we're just trying to come up with the most reasonable explanation given the evidence. What is the evidence that you can collect on someone's subjective experience? asking them
Well,
about
yeah,
it.
that's the point. I think the standard is very, very small.
I've got some books
Very
if you
low,
want to. It sounds like you probably live overseas, but I've got some books on like forming scientific studies if you want.
Sure.
And there's a lot of them in there about like surveying tactics if you're just like confused about how surveying works in a scientific context.
Maybe you can explain it, but sure, you can give me the recommendations. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Woo! Sorry, my camera just went flying across the fucking room. Yeah, I would just read into like how scientific studies, specifically psychological studies, are constructed in order to have like both internal and external validity, and to make sure that they actually apply to the population that they're trying to study.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm more than willing to read them.
All right, you read up on that and get back to me, Radian. Have a good one.
Hello?
Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Jarrett, and I'm above 18, and he, him.
Did you say Jared or Jarrett?
With a T.
One T?
Yeah.
All right.
How's your day going?
Long. So what is your religion or lack thereof, Jarrett?
It's tough to label. What would you identify yourself as?
I'm an agnostic atheist.
Okay. When it comes to conversations of, well, your prompt, why do you feel that? In what regards do you think Christians are rejecting science, I guess?
Yeah, in a lot of ways. So believing in miracles, believing certain stories within the Bible, and to be fair, not all Christians believe that like the flood is real, or that the Garden of Eden is real, or they reject evolution, or are young Earth creationists. But all of those things are specific to Christianity, right?
Okay. I'll grant that. I think that there's some extraordinary claims. I think from like a very literal Christian perspective, I think that a lot of the Bible is very like allegorical. So would you be open to more of a like allegorical approach to the Christian beliefs, or?
If you believe that literally none of it was true and it was all just like an allegory to teach a moral lesson, sure.
Okay, well, I think then we actually don't disagree too much then.
Okay, do you believe that Jesus was a Messiah?
It gets really tough because I feel like Christ consciousness is, kind of like Buddha mind, trying to blend a lot of different ideas. I think that Jesus realized that God is kind of is a thing that's in us all, but it's something with the ego, and it becomes like an identity question almost of it's almost like a mystic
It's whether or not you believe
realization.
that there was a figure of Jesus who was divine. That's what I'm asking.
Historical Jesus, I think, definitely existed, and I think there's a lot of documents about that.
Not really.
Whether
But do
he
you
was-
think he was divine?
I would say so, but I also think that everyone's divine in a way. I think he was the quintessential essence of divinity as played out in the historical context of this world.
Okay. Sorry, it's just you're not saying much of anything.
Well, I guess to your defense, my approach is a bit esoteric, but I guess I don't think that believing that Jesus served as a let's say like a superhero in a sense, where if you read a Superman book, it's like maybe Superman isn't real, but the lessons that were instilled are very much real.
Okay,
So
but
I guess
I'm
I'm-
asking you whether or not you believe he was real and was divine.
Literally real, yes. Divine, it becomes, I don't know, I feel like that question, so I'm trying to understand what your motive for that question is. It just to to stomp out anything that could be considered anti-scientific in terms of our beliefs?
No, it's because like the first thing that I ask people when they come up here is what is their religion or lack thereof, and you kind of didn't answer that question, so I'm trying to get a feel for what you even believe so that we can discuss it. Because every time I ask you a question about what you believe, I just kind of get a very vague word salad.
I'll grant you that. I mean, I think you're being real, and I think that it's tough for me to say in the same way that what I intuitively feel is that there is something more than what science can prove, because I think science can tell you a lot about like how things work, but not why. Like when it comes to values, like what would science say is the most like effective way to have your like morality structured? Like it doesn't really have an answer to that. So
yeah, because that's not what it's trying to study.
But it's precisely for that point though that when we come into territory of trying to understand what like are the best values, I think Christianity does have a dog in that fight that is worth, contending with.
Okay, so Christianity says that slavery is okay, that taking little girls as sex slaves is okay, slaughtering babies is okay, setting women on fire if they have sex before marriage is okay. If they have a dog in the fight, it's like a two-legged chihuahua.
Okay, that was pretty funny. I think that you can't in good faith think that that's something I support, unless...
I don't, but that's what Christianity supports. So that's what I'm trying to point out to you when you say that Christianity has all these morals that we can take. Typically the people who say that, they only choose very small portions of the Bible, and they'll say, oh, well, that was the old covenant. We just ignore everything that God did back then.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand. That's a good point, though. I think that the Bible, in my own confusion of trying to understand things, I think that the morality of the Bible of the Old Testament was to cater to the worldview of that time, which from our modern day, it's like atrocious, but I actually don't know. I'm kind of getting outside the realm of my knowledge of that, but
well, everything that I just shared was either a command by God or carried out by God himself.
Well, let me ask you, the 10 Commandments, do you have any issue with any of those?
Yes, the 10th one says not to covet your neighbor's slave, so the 10 Commandments account for people owning slaves.
I don't know if that's exactly true. I could be wrong.
Saying not to covet a slave is not getting rid of slavery, right?
But I've never heard a rendition like that. I'm not sure if that's like the King James version or...
In our SVUE.
Okay.
It's in a lot of versions, but that's the one that I typically use. Also just the not having any other gods before that specific god I would take issue with, because I don't think he's real, right?
And
things like don't slaughter people, love that. God of the Bible did not follow that one. Don't lie, sure. God of the Bible did not follow that one. So
for the record, I think that we probably agree more. I mean, I don't know too much, but I think that all the things you're saying, they're valid, but that's not the Christianity that I would say I defend. I think there's a way to take, not throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to like the gold nuggets that might be in the Bible without taking the dogmatism.
No, I'm sorry. It's not a baby in the bathwater. It's the turd in the punch bowl.
Well,
all the good things you get from the Bible are not specific to the Bible. They're everywhere. They appear in other religious writings, other non-religious writings. We don't need to read a book that tells us it's okay to take little girls as sex slaves, just because it tells us also not to unalive people.
Well, it's interesting though, because I think you mentioned slavery. If I remember correctly, I think that it was Christian beliefs that actually led to the stopping of slavery in a lot of places, which I'm not sure if that gives more credence to it, but...
No, Jared, that's not true.
It's not?
No, abolitionism was started on the heels of the Enlightenment. It started in Haiti. It was not due to Christianity.
Well, I mean, but think about like the abolition movements in the U.S. I'm sure that there was some Christian ethics behind that.
Who was perpetuating slavery in the U.S.?
Well, I mean, that's a good point. I think that also, I think that it becomes a very interesting thing too, where it's like people can have a bastardization of a faith, and then still, if someone wants to pick apart that faith, they can reference those people.
But it's not really bastardization if it's directly supported by the text. When the text specifically says you can take people from foreign nations as your slaves, you can keep them as property, and you can give them to your children as an inheritance, that's not a bastardization. That's carrying out what the text says.
Maybe I need to refresh. I mean, once again,
Leviticus 25, 44 through 46.
I'm not too knowledgeable about the specific verses of the Bible. I think that anyone that adheres too strongly to a text, me personally, I think dogmatism is the issue. Like, I think that, you can have a philosophy and you can follow that philosophy to help you become a good person, but if you adhere to the text too strongly, you confuse the map for the territory, because ultimately the point of a religion, how I see it, is community. So if the religion you follow is making you do bad to another, then you're no longer...
Why do you need religion to have community?
Well, because I think that community is this, it's like, why do we need culture? Culture is there to see the common good, or just the common experiences that we have. And,
why do you need... You can have community without religion, so why not just have the community without the religious aspect whatsoever?
Because I think that they're not mutually exclusive, and I think that having a...
Right, I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive. I'm asking, why is religion necessary for community?
Because...
It's not. That's what I'm trying to get at.
But I think that that's a little glib, because... What does a society look like without any, religion? I don't know if we have a case study for that, but I'd be curious what that would look like.
Fewer tax-exempt organizations? I think it would be better if we relied more on critical thinking rather than religion in our society, because, again, I feel like religion just, it leads people to have... It weakens their ability to hold personal moral standards and to think critically.
I would grant you, I think that some weak-spirited individuals will cling on to Christianity as a way to absolve their own badness, dare I say. And so I can grant that. But I think that there is something to be said about just like a good-natured individual that abides by certain tales of the Bible to guide them as a sort of a metaphor for their higher self, without taking the literalism that I think me and you both agree on can be a bit shaky.
Yeah, I would just say it'd be better to source that from somewhere else that doesn't also have rape and slavery and infant slaughtering in the same book, right? Find those moral lessons anywhere else. If those moral lessons stand out to you, you probably already believed them, right? Like, these aren't great revelations. Like, don't slaughter people. I never thought of it like that. Like, that's not typically how that goes, right? Usually you already agree with these things. So I don't think you need a book that has all this horrible stuff in it to get you there. I really don't.
Well, I do have to bounce in a second, but you're making some good points. I have to just ask you, do you think that there's anything redeeming or anything worthwhile about Jesus as a man and the lessons that he had taught?
Some of the super vague ones that we could get from anywhere else.
So, okay, so you think it's... I mean, the Dionysus sort of, myth is prevalent. Like, it started in, Egypt. And I think Jesus also has arguably become a sort of continuation of that. So I'll grant you that, but I slightly disagree. I think that there's something about Jesus and what he represented that is worthwhile, but I don't think it has to be Jesus. I think it could be anyone that serves as a reminder of what one could be as their highest self. So
I'm not necessarily against that principle, but I don't think that Jesus is that guy.
Okay, I can respect that. Well, hey, I have to get out here, but it was great chatting with you.
Have a good one, Jarrett.
Yeah, you as well. Bye.
All right. Before I bring up this next guest, some context for everyone. This guest has been in my live before. was very combative and said some pretty horrible things, has since then been constantly commenting on my content, even though I've asked him to stop. Made a video about me saying that I was possessed by demons. And basically, now that I've muted him in chat here, seems just determined to further harass me. So let's say hello to Strength in Christ. Hey, what's your name, age, and pronouns?
I gotta tell everybody to repent.
What's your name, age, and pronouns?
Strength in Christ.
All right.
Gotta repent.
How old are you?
Old enough, 32.
All right. And if chat were going to refer to you, would they say he, she, they, or something else?
Man of God.
If chat were to refer to you, would they say he, she, they, or something else?
Whatever they want.
All right. You just know that a bunch of people are about to call you she.
That's all right, but we gotta repent of our sins and believe the gospel.
Okay. Thank you for just spamming your macros. Why do Christians reject science?
God created science.
That's not an answer to what I asked.
That's the truth.
That's not an answer to what I asked.
It doesn't matter.
Well, when I'm asking you a question, it's like polite to respond to it, right?
Yeah, God created science.
Why do Christians reject science?
Christians don't reject science. God created it.
There we go. There's a response. You think God created science?
God created everything.
God created everything. Just a refresher on some of your views. You believe that anything God commands is good, right?
God created everything. Anything God says is good.
Anything God says is good. Because I remember we had this discussion last time, so I just want to reiterate. Your position is that if God asked you to attack a child, you would do it?
Can't say that on TikTok guidelines. I have a platform. I can't say that.
Well, you said it last time.
I have a platform.
You can just give me a yes or no.
Can't say it.
You can't say yes or no? I can say no. I don't have to worry about my platform by saying no to that.
Yeah, because you're not a threat. I have a platform.
How long have you been doing this?
A while.
Yeah. You know how long I've been doing this?
I don't know.
This account? Since January. The end of January.
Cool.
And do you have how many followers? Because I'm only bringing this up because you felt the need to like mock my follower count
accounts.
in that like weird video that you made about me.
How many accounts do you have?
Well, my old one got lost, so just this
I have
one
5,
now.
so and a YouTube and a Facebook, Instagram.
That's
Snapchat.
great. My old account got lost. I had more than this one, and even doing this for you said a long time. I've been doing it for not even 3 months.
No, this account's only a year old.
Oh, that's not true because I went back and looked, and you had stuff on there from 2022.
Oh, you're creeping, huh?
Well,
so you're curious about Jesus?
Because you harassed me and you made a weird fucking video about me and made fun of my follower count. So I was like, how long has he been doing this shit?
Sounds like you're manifesting a little bit.
Manifesting. It's just interesting that you would lie about that when lying is a sin.
No one's perfect except Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you just deliberately lied in front of a bunch of people. That's strange.
You deliberately lie
but
every
again,
single day.
Why are you afraid to confirm that you wouldn't hurt a child?
Because I have a platform.
Okay, so why would you saying that you would not hurt a child threaten that platform?
You can ask me another question.
Okay, if God told you to hurt a child, would you hurt that child?
That's the same question. It's a rhetorical question. I'm not going to answer it.
No, the first time I said attack.
Not going to answer it.
It's just like, I can say no.
You can say
hurt
it,
a
but I'm not
child.
going to answer it.
Yeah, well, it's just the fact that you're refusing to answer it, that means that you would?
If I refuse to answer, that doesn't mean anything, does it?
It kind of does, because you're saying it's the reason that you're giving for not answering it is not because like, oh, I reject the framing of the question or I reject the principle of the question. It's I'm worried that I would lose my platform for how I answer, and I don't see why someone would lose their platform for confirming that they wouldn't harm a child. The only reason I can see someone losing their platform is if they said that they would harm a child. So it kind of implies that your answer is that you would harm a child.
It sounds like an opinion.
It's just based off of evidence.
Cool.
It's just like, why would you be afraid of the consequences of confirming you wouldn't do something horrible, right?
You have another question?
Sure. Why do you keep harassing me?
Because I got to spread the gospel to every creature, the Bible says. To keep
So
you away from hell.
The only way you can do that is by harassing me?
No, that's what the Bible, that's what the Word of God says. Trust no man, trust in the Word of God.
How about you find a different way then than constantly fucking harassing me?
There's no other way.
There's no other way.
Nope.
Really?
I must spread the gospel to every person.
Anything besides trying to constantly like go past my boundaries and bombard
That's
me.
what I'm supposed to do.
You're supposed to go past boundaries?
Yeah,
You're
I'm supposed to
violate
plant a seed
consent?
so the Lord will convict you.
You're supposed to violate consent repeatedly? That's what Christianity tells you to do?
No, I'm supposed to trust no man and lean on the Word of God.
Well, I've told you to stop, and you continue to do
Your
so.
opinion
That is
doesn't matter to me,
violating
though.
consent. My
Doesn't
opinion
matter.
of my own boundaries and my consent does matter.
No.
It doesn't matter.
No.
So my consent does not matter?
No.
Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, I need to tell people to repent so you can avoid
Yeah,
spending
sure, guys.
eternity in hell.
Join Christianity if you want to be like this guy who says that consent doesn't matter. Fuck off. Just leave me alone, dude. Love that he said my consent didn't matter. That's just lovely. So if you want to be like him, I guess convert to Christianity. He's claiming he has all these other accounts. I don't think he does. I feel like Mezzo and I looked last time and like that's just not true. Anyway, that account of his is blocked. Maybe he'll finally fucking leave me alone. Fucking hell. Sorry, I'm just oof. I'm not super up to it tonight. Let's see. Got all the winners tonight. Yeah, that's fucking true. Hey, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Here's my other account. I told you. I have
Oh my
5
fucking
accounts.
god, leave me alone.
You gotta repent of your sins.
Leave me alone. Oh my god. All right. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. Sorry, that's kind of just put me off from continuing to stream tonight. Hey, Meeks. Thanks for being here. I'm not gonna send anyone anywhere to do anything. I'm just really tired, and I'm just really tired. So I'm gonna wrap up with a quick few reminders. So tomorrow RAMSASS is gonna be a night show, but it is also going to be simulcast onto YouTube. So again, RAMSASS is not gonna be at noon. It's gonna be around my usual streaming time, 8:30 tomorrow night. So RAMSASS tomorrow night, 8:30, and it's also going to be on YouTube. So I'm going to be testing out. I haven't simul-streamed to my own channel on YouTube before, so that is something that I'm hopefully going to test out tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. So you guys can tune in either here or over on YouTube. Go ahead and follow if you haven't already. Join me on Discord. And thank you to the very kind person who says that I've helped them to realize their potential as a human being. That is incredibly kind of you. Thank you very much. And Thank you for saying that I looked cute. That's very kind. You guys are sweet. I appreciate you guys so much. I just need a little bit of rest after that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Who are we going to go over to? We are going to go over to... Is CBJ still live? We'll see if CBJ is still live. CBJ is still alive. Still alive. We're going to go over to Christ before Jesus. Tell him hey. Tell him that robotgoat sent y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye.